As we grow, our perceptions of our parents can shift and change. While you may come to see that they aren't the quite unstoppable heroes when you once thought they were when you were really young, they still play an important role in helping you become an adult, which is a pretty big role. This can be true for parents, siblings, and even grandparents. Well, for me, my siblings and my grandparents are great, but my dad is even better. My dad has been there as long as I can remember, from him helping me learn to tie my shoes to now teaching me how to throw a shot put. He's just been there his entire life, teaching me and helping me. I picked my dad because of the huge influence he's had on my life and him also giving to me and my family. Today, I'll be talking about my dad who gives everything. I'll be talking about how he gives at our house, how he's been giving through his work life, and finally, how he's been giving through my scouting experience. Having a father is normal, but having a father who's willing to give everything is on another level of being a dad. The first place he gives to us normally is at our house. It's not really much of a big, woohoo you gave or whatever. It's more of small things. Like, for example, we'll all be having crappy days. It'll just be super sad and stuff. And my dad will be having the same problem. He'll be having a crappy day, and he'll want to come home from work and just watch TV. But he'll notice that we're all having a crappy day, and instead of doing that, he'll say something like, "Hey, why don't we all play a card game?" So we'll all play a card game, and it'll be so much fun, and we'll all get boosted back up. He even lets us pick the card game, which he can get pretty annoyed if he doesn't play the right game, and it's kind of cool. He also, on family movie nights, he lets us pick the movie, which is cool because he doesn't like watching some of the movies we watch, but I think he just does it because he knows he's probably going to fall asleep. He also, even though he's been giving a little bit at home, he's giving a lot through his work life. He's been working at the college for the past 10 years, but he didn't really like it that much, as well as another job he might have. The only reason he kept at this job is so we would have a chance for college tuition. He kept at it even when times were rough, just so we would have this chance. And just this summer, he got fired. And he was sad, but not because of the obvious reason of not having a job. He was sad because we didn't have that chance for college tuition that he worked so hard for us to have. Now he's at a job that he loves, and he's still able to give it to us through that job. And through, at our house, how he gives there, through his work life, he also gives to us through my scouting experience. I've been in scouts as long as I can remember, and he's been there the entire time and journey with me. He's the scoutmaster of our troop and tries the hardest ever to be able to teach us and get us through this journey. From the meetings where he teaches us to tie simple knots like the bowline or the square knot. He also is there at the camporees where he teaches us how to shoot a gun or a bow and not hurt ourselves. But the biggest part about my scouting experience I remember with him is campouts. Most importantly, this one campout with a really big storm. So I was just a tiny scout starting my scouting experience, and we went to a campout with my troop and my dad. It was so much fun. The days were just flying by. It was always beautiful, sunny out, and we were having the greatest time. And one day we were like, "Hey, why not go swimming?" So we went down to the waterfront, and by this time in the day, it was starting to get a little cloudy, and we didn't think anything about it. But as we swam and had fun, it started to get darker and darker. So we decided to go back to the campsite. And being the person I was like, I'm going to run ahead so I can get to the campsite first. And at this point, it was very dark outside. It was just black, and it was vicious looking. And out of nowhere, the storm hit. It started downpouring, sleet hitting my head. And two dudes came running out of nowhere and told me to go with them. I was so confused, and I ran with them up a giant sandy hill with water streaming down it so we could get into a safe place at the mess hall. Through the entire storm, it was just so loud and stuff. We could hear the rain pounding on the roof, trees falling over, the thunder shaking the ground. It was very vicious, and through this entire time, I was trying to figure out what my troop was doing and how my dad would react when he realized I wasn't at the campsite. And after this entire storm ended, I started to walk back to the campsite. And I saw all the damage that had been done by the storm. Buildings, part of them were destroyed. There were trees falling over roads and all sorts of stuff like this. And when my dad saw me, he drew me into a big hug and he started to cry. He was glad that I was okay, and I tried to apologize to him, but he wouldn't let me. He was just glad I was okay and I wasn't hurt. And after this entire storm blew over and we went home, I realized he was trying to find me through that entire storm. He was willing to give his life for me to make sure I was okay. Having a father is normal, but having a father who's willing to give something like his life is on another level of being a dad. Today, I talked about my father, who gives everything for anyone, but mostly me and my family. He's been a great influence on me to also teach me to give everything. He's been there giving from all the crappy days we've been having, and he's just been able to make it up with a simple card game. He was also there at his job that he didn't really like, so he would have a chance for college tuition. He was also there through my scouting experiences, from the meetings to the camporees and to the campouts with the big storms. He's just been there his whole life giving to me. And after I thought about all these moments, I thought about what it really means to have a dad that would care and give everything for me. I realized that being a father that could do that is the hardest thing ever. And my dad figured out how to do that and give everything for nothing.